a Playlyst original.
Welcome to the Pilot Podcast,
where we review the pilot episodes of TV shows to answer your question, should I watch this?
My name is BJ.
And my name is Mitu.
And this week, we're watching The Hunting Wives on Netflix.
So stay tuned to the end to find out which hunting wife BJ would be.
Interesting question. Sounds a little messy.
Until then, why don't you tell us what happened with these gals and their guns?
Lots of guns. Sophie, played by Brittany Snow, trades New England for East Texas and falls into a wealthy socialite's magnetic orbit where a clique of housewives hide deadly secrets. In this pilot episode, Sophie attends a party for her husband's new boss and tries to make a good impression when she finds herself drawn to the alluring and mysterious Margo, played by Malin Ackerman. So, Mitu, what were your first impressions as we see this New England Cambridge girl now in East Texas trying to be a cowgirl?
I always love this theme of what our husbands don't know. And I love this very campy gals being gals type of drama. This one is definitely more sexual than I've seen in the Netflix library of these shows. It really feels like a daughter of a Desperate Housewives, where that show was very sexy and juicy and mysterious. I wouldn't say this is quite on the level of a Desperate Housewives, but it has that same energy of campy and fun, but also very, very sexy, especially between Margo and her husband, Jed, played by the icon Dermot Mulroney.
And it's interesting how they incorporate the sexy element, because I think they are trying to keep it a little more mainstream. So it's beginning of a hookup and then cut. So we know what they're about to do, but they don't lean too heavily into actual sex scenes.
That's true. And I think that makes it all the more terrifying or thrilling in the sense that you see a lot of almost really wild things happen. And there's such room for potential in this story to do pretty outlandish things with your neighbors' kids, and with your neighbors' spouses.
You know, what we quickly learn about Margo and her circle is that they're going to do whatever they want with whoever they want, probably wherever they want.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting as Sophie comes in, seemingly brought here because of her husband's job, maybe would have liked to stay in Cambridge instead. And she's getting close to Margo, which also means that she's pushing Callie, played by Jamie Ray Newman, out of her kind of number 2 position in Margo's social circle.
And let's talk about that circle a little bit, because they cast that right out of my dreams. We have Jamie Ray Newman, we have Malin Ackerman, we have Brittany Snow, and then we also have Katie Lowes, who is Jill in this circle. And then we have a little bit of friction between Jill and Star, played by Chrissy Metz. So this is such a solid group of people to deliver this drama. Going back to Sophie, I think one theme that comes up a lot is her husband seems like maybe not the best partner for her. And it seems like she is escaping that by getting up under Margo, and that is also not a good idea. So I'm very much looking forward to Sophie standing up a little bit.
Right. It's really tough to watch the scenes where her husband Graham is telling Sophie what to do or reminding her, oh, you shouldn't be doing this or you should be doing this. And we later see now she's kind of just following Margo. And when will Sophie make the decisions for Sophie? It
also feels like Sophie's anxiety is kind of a Chekhov's gun. It'll be the anxiety or her saying we're not big secret keepers about her husband. Those two things did not feel like throwaways to me. The fact that she and her husband, for now, are not big secret keepers, though already some secrets have emerged in this first episode, and the fact that she repeatedly mentioned having issues with anxiety, one of those things is going to go off on this plot, if not both. And then I would also say that Margo plotting on Sophie, especially possibly with Jed's support or encouragement was so
Fully.
creepy.
Full support. And this is not long after meeting Sophie. One quick run-in at a party, and they're like, yeah, you like her, I like her. Let's make her part of whatever our little secret couple sex situation is.
They had her at the club with high schoolers and doing body shots.
Can we talk a little bit about the high schoolers?
Yeah.
So we meet one of them, Jill's son, Brad. He also has a friend from his basketball team. They are explicitly stated to be 18, but it seems established that these 18-year-olds hook up with the local moms.
Jamie even says, are you friends or friends to Sophie about Margo? So, like, they're all in on it. These high school kids are aware of some of these proclivities. And to your point, it's clear that some of these moms are sleeping with these high schoolers. Sure, 18 plus children, I guess, if that distinction matters for you. But it was wild to see them just flirting with these kids. There's a moment where Margo, in conversation with Sophie after she runs into Jamie on the outside of the club, and she goes, that Jamie's really cute, right? And Sophie's like, he's a kid. And Margo's like, but it's okay to notice. And it's just, oh, what is that opening up? It was so creepy. It was so creepy. What I like about this show, though, is that isn't played to my impression for like sexy storytelling. And it does just speak to Margo's in some deep stuff. Because another thing happens in the club where somebody discovers possibly another identity that Margo has, and some juice happens after the club, possibly related to that.
I agree. They're not presenting this as like super creepy or just like highlighting the sexual nature, more going into all the depths that Margo has normalized this behavior and is trying to get Sophie to not think so much about it so that she will want to participate. Because
the other wives are in. They're all in on everything. They just want to be with the it girl Margo so badly. I also think for Sophie, the political stuff, she got past that very quickly, which was another indicator that maybe she is not standing so firmly in her beliefs. So hopefully we'll see some progress from that character by the end of the show. But she starts with saying, I did PR in Cambridge, pretentious, for progressive campaigns, pretentious. Immediately, her husband takes her to an NRA rally. Some very current political things were mentioned, which I didn't love because I feel like that mentally takes you out of it to like genuinely think about specific policies or things that are harming people. And she is visibly uncomfortable at some of the things that Jed says at this rally, but then she just seems to sort of get over it and become obsessed with Margo truly within minutes.
And what's wild is Jed asks for her take when he finds out that she has that political experience. She very openly criticizes him, calls him racist.
Yeah.
And we all brush it off.
They giggled about it.
By the end of that conversation, like, not an issue, I guess. Not of concern.
Even later with the wives, one of the wives says, you know, Sophie thinks she's better than us. She thinks we're deplorables. And again, giggle all around. And it's just like, I don't know. But maybe if you're a Sophie and you're alone in this world and you are just going along with what Graham wants, what Margo wants, maybe this is something that just bothers you maybe for a moment, but you've moved on.
So Mitu, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I know how you feel about guns.
Okay.
So let's say your friends invite you to a lake house and say, want to go ride on this cool boat on the water? And then there's a bunch of loaded guns on the boat.
Huh.
How would you react?
To take my love of water and to turn it on me, I would never forgive those people. And I would swim back to shore because I am a strong swimmer. There's this great...
He needs that boat.
There's this fantastic Living Single episode where Max dates this environmental activist that she defended successfully in a trial because he was accused of basically environmental activism turned terrorism. And he didn't do it, but they think that he did it. And there's a moment where a gun appears in this very wild episode where they're retreating to a cabin. And Regine just goes, gun, and passes out or pretends to, just to immediately physically remove herself from the conflict. It's one of the funniest things I have seen. It's a scene I think about often. That's essentially where I would be, except I couldn't be passive because I'd have to swim back to shore.
I could see you pulling that move on the dock. As soon as you spot a gun,
Yeah.
you just collapse right there.
I'm asleep. It's like the time you and I went skiing and your ski touched my ski and I got so scared that my body just went limp and I crumpled to the ground. Like, I never fell while skiing, but the one time I hit the ground was when your ski nudged my ski. That's it. And I crumpled to the ground in fear.
Or when I fell and then you panicked and were like, I'm done. You gotta help me. I can't keep skiing.
I started screaming for help. I'm 20 paces from the bottom of this tiny little bunny hill that you and I were on. As soon as I saw you fall, I actually started screaming for support. Not for you, mind you. You're on the ground.
I'm face down in the snow.
For somebody to get me off this tiny hill that children are skating by. There are children half my height comfortably coming by, not me. The other thing that blew me about Jed and that NRA thing that did make me laugh, speaking of how I feel about guns, is he did that thing because of this overarching mystery of what happened to this missing teenage girl. And so he did that typical political line of, you know, there's these bad guys with guns. He invokes some xenophobic things of these bad actors coming in across the border is what he's saying. He obviously used much nastier language than that. And the only way to combat that is a good guy with a gun. And I did laugh to myself thinking, like, if there were ever a universe in which, God forbid, like someone attacked me with a gun and I also had a gun, that person now has two guns with which they could attack me.
As you just toss it to them. Don't hurt me.
Help! And I'm just throwing it. I'm throwing it directly
throwing guns, throwing ammo.
Yeah.
Like, somebody help.
Please.
Now he's got two guns.
How did this happen? Like, I truly, when I heard Jed say that line, it made me think about that. It would be like, well, that person would just simply have two guns if they faced me.
And now what do we do?
Yeah, now we're really at an impasse.
On another note,
Yes.
I am curious about what to me feels like a mystery with Jill's husband. She is the wife of the Reverend.
Yeah.
And she's always doing things on her own, attending events, going to her kids' games, like doing the whole housewife thing, and keeps saying her husband is busy.
Yeah. What is he up to? What happened to this teenager? What is this weird sex stuff Jed and Margo are up to? What is in Margo's past? What is in Sophie's past? Because Callie tried to jump into that using her husband's badge to access those files, and she couldn't do a proper background check on Sophie. And what was Sophie escaping? Because Graham says, you may hate the culture here. You may feel like you don't fit in. You may be uncomfortable. Your anxiety may be spiking. I might not be the most supportive man, but you do absolutely need a fresh start. From what? And I don't think it's what she said to Margo. It seems like it's bigger than that.
Yes. Sophie seems nervous about something, and not just the anxiety that she's expressed having. There's something more that she's repressing or hiding or running away from.
What I will say about those mysteries, we had a lot of great hints in this. This was such a fun, campy show that did not take itself too seriously, which I love. I do wish we had, like, even one more nugget of the missing teen story. We had what happened at the very beginning. We have what happens at the very end of this episode. But I could have used with, like, one more what's going on there. Even if it's, like, a little more information on who she is, what she's about. I think that would be helpful.
I can see that. I will say, I was surprised that this 50-minute show was so well-paced in terms of mysteries, drama, surprises.
I was engaged for all 50 minutes because sometimes, y'all, confession time, sometimes these shows be so slow. that I'll just start to zone out. And I'm like, did I respond to that email? I'm texting BJ my thoughts while the show is going, so I'm actively missing things, but it's just like long lingering shots of a forest or something. In this one, although it was 50 minutes, which is long, it didn't feel like there were things that they kept in just to keep in.
Right. I would not, if I was the editor, I would not cut anything from this episode.
Yeah. Very well edited.
You suggest add more.
Yeah. I wanted one more scene, actually. Let's crank it up to 52 minutes. I'm talking crazy now.
And with that, are you going to watch more episodes? Get the extra 2 minutes of The Hunting Wives on Netflix?
Yes. I would watch again, seriously. I think this is just such a fun, juicy show. This, to me, feels like a future weekend marathon watch. I would also say that there seems to be a few negative reviews of this show. I think that the frame on reviewing this has to be like taking it for what it is, which is a fun, juicy, campy show that does not take itself seriously. I think if it felt really self-important, it would be less watchable. This is like so compulsively watchable. Like BJ said, this was like 50 minutes truly that went by so well. And if you're also juicy show hive, I think this is a good one. And I would recommend Desperate Housewives because we reviewed that pilot a long time ago, and that was so fire.
That holds up.
Yeah.
I feel similarly about The Hunting Wives. I would rate it, would watch again casually. There's a lot of interesting storylines going on, lots of secrets that make me want to know more about the characters in the storylines. I saw some of the same criticism that you saw, and I would say to our listeners, remember this is fictional. While they do hint at some real world stuff in the beginning, it then just goes to make-believe, wild, crazy, socialite social circle.
Yeah.
So if you stay in that world, it can be a fun ride.
Okay. I want to amend my earlier question. I think I said, which hunting wife would you be? Which you're welcome to answer that. But I think what really came to my mind is like, what kind of clique would you want? Would you want a Hunting Wives, a Mean Girls, a Desperate Housewives? We've seen a few of these shows where there's like power cliques of people. Is there one that moves you?
And I would be in the clique.
You could be the head honcho.
Okay, maybe like the Avengers.
Okay, so you take it to that place.
It's got to be a TV show?
No, I'm not saying TV show. I'm talking about energy. Like, I'm mentioning Desperate Housewives, Mean Girls, The Hunting Wives, juice. And you said, actually, I want a different kind of juice, muscles, with the Avengers. So which Avenger would you be?
Maybe Star Trek? Because that's less dangerous if I'm in Star Trek.
No, Beach. They be dying in Star Trek, Lost in Space. A lot of those seasons are dark.
If I'm the head honcho, am I not safe?
I guess you'd literally have to be the captain because on like 2 or 3 of these Star Trek series that I've seen, really main characters have succumbed to things.
Dang. I'll stick with the Avengers then.
Actually, even in Voyager, no spoilers, but even that, you wouldn't be safe as the captain.
You asked who I'd be in Avengers?
Yeah.
That's tough. Because none of them really have great lives.
No, they don't live well. Those are people, talk about work-life imbalance. Ooh, full integration over there.
Maybe Spider-Man. I feel like he has a good combination of powers and real friends.
Yeah.
But also very tragic and tough life.
Yeah. My partner has me watching the 90s run of Spider-Man for the first time ever. That kid went through it. That is just so much pressure on a child. That is too much.
So wait, maybe...
Now who do you want to be?
Ooh, maybe like...
Robert Downey Jr., because then you'd be rich.
But then I know how his story ends.
Well, it doesn't have to. You know, the comics have so many versions. Or is he gone in all of them?
That's true. No, but I think he's more of like a douchebag in the comics.
That's fine, but in a mansion, right? What did Future say? You can cry in a phantom?
How about Captain Marvel?
Yeah.
Because I think she has the closest powers are like immortality or like really slow aging.
And you're vibing in space. Like you can leave the conflict. Like I'm going to go explore and build community, like whatever you need to say, gone.
No spaceship needed. Just fly into space on your own.
That actually sounds really lovely. And that feels like the piece of going on a midday walk or something where you just need to clear your head times 1,000.
Laps around the galaxy.
Yeah, I'm gone. Talk about perspective setting too.
That's true. You'd see the world in a whole different light.
Yeah. Little things are not getting you down when you're aware of so much more.
I do want Doctor Strange magic powers, but I also would not want to be him.
No, that seems really miserable.
Mm-hmm.
I would never want that much information. Ugh, no thank you.
Or to imagine looking at thousands or millions of timelines.
That's what I'm saying. Like that amount of information, I would disintegrate. I would Thanos snap, like no snap needed. You would just see me become particles. I'm barely keeping track of what I got going on. Now I'm keeping track of Mitu Universe 1, Universe 2, Universe Infinity, and then everybody else. I'm aware of your outcomes. I'm aware of whoever. I don't even like that we can Google anything. I don't think that's healthy for us. Like, I don't think we should know as much as we know as it is.
I'd give you 10 timelines and then you'd be like, well, it's not getting better.
Yeah.
Peace out.
And I'd be like, I guess we'll never know, guys, because I am just going to go ahead and shut this down. So sorry. Yeah, like it could help. Like maybe, if we can explore, if I could give you this, I would. Like if I could give you all these little circles that this guy can make, if I could take the cape off, give it to y'all, I would. And I know y'all know I mean that.
We'd be like, but if you just keep looking,
no,
there has to be a way.
That's not possible. Maybe
there's at least
me
one
in universe 10, but in this universe.
And then you're like, actually, that one, she did not end up well either.
That's true. Because then I also, does that knowledge come back in my brain? I can't handle that.
So maybe after the first universe where something bad happened, you're like, done.
Sorry.
Done.
And this is all we need to know because there is such a thing as discernment and he's missing it. So I would be like, let me discern. Spirit of discernment entered this room. We don't need to know all this.
And let's practice being present. We're worrying about the future so much.
Guys, put away your phones.
Let's really enjoy this moment right now.
I once went to a management training program where one of the modules was making eye contact with another participant for 7 minutes. I did not know anyone else. A lot of people came with their colleagues, so they looked their colleagues in the eye, which I don't know, better or worse. I was paired with the instructor.
Oh.
I was that outlier kid, but just fully an adult. And I would have y'all doing stuff like that, though. I'd be like, okay, everybody stare deeply in each other's eyes for 7 minutes. I'm doing anything.
You're like, let's just, let's open up with some icebreakers.
Yeah.
What's your favorite summer activity?
Yeah. I'm doing 2 truths and a lie. I'm doing zip, zap, zop. Whatever feels right.
And we're just like, and Thanos is, he's right there. We should do something.
Have y'all tried watercoloring? That's it. I'm improving. Crochet circle, anyone? I don't even know how to crochet.
Well, we can say something that you could try is listening to more episodes of the Pilot Podcast by heading to our website, thepilotpodcast.com, and following us on your favorite podcast platform.
You can also follow us on social media at The Pilot Pod, and you can send thoughts, feelings, show recommendations, because every other week, just like this one, we do a show recommended by you, our wonderful listeners, to askthepilotpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.
Bye.